Hi everybody, so my client's back with her glass nails and yeah, she was wearing like these gorgeous huge charms on top of her nails, and but she took them off because she kept getting caught with her hair and everything, and she ruined some clothing, I believe. So yeah, she took them off and she fixed the nails herself because she's a nail tech. So she did a very small infill in the middle of her nail. Yeah, I get it. So there's not a lot of work for me to do today. I'm just going to take off the top coat and see if there's any lifting. A few spots, but not a lot, I believe. Hardly anything. Just a little bit over here, and that was it. So it's very minimal. Next, I'm going to shape her nails, make them nice and pointy again. And also looking at the side walls again and her lower arches, making sure they are coming straight out of the side wall like that, supporting her nails with my fingers on top. So, otherwise it would hurt if I'm applying pressure, on, from underneath the nails. Yeah, it might hurt. So I always try to, support them with my fingers. And now I'm thinning out underneath because I did a minor correction right now while I was filing underneath those lower arches. I filed the nails, up again, which caused some thick edges on the underside. So I'm just taking them away and making sure that it's all nice and thin and a lovely C-curve again. As you can see, it's pretty thick there underneath, so I'm going to take that away like that and making sure that it's seamless again, which is uh, a lot more comfortable for your client anyway. So, and I'm just going to do that for all 10 of her nails. And I always think that this is pretty satisfying to see, for me at least. I needed to do a little touch up on that nail and still have to do her thumb. I don't know if I recorded it, I can't remember. Yeah, I'm just making sure that it's still, straight. Yeah, I did record it. There we go. Taking away that bulk. Oh, love it. Nice and smooth again. Getting rid of those thick ridges. Getting that C-curve back in. I'm just being really careful, if you're doing this, just, be careful with the hyponychium of your client. You really don't want to damage that part because that really, really hurts, you know. So just be careful. So with this nail, I have to get really close to her hyponychium and her skin. Too close to get there, I really don't want to hurt her, so I'm going to grab a wooden stick. Like it's very thin, and I'm just going to get that behind, the part that I want to get rid of. And that way I can pull back the skin while at the same time protecting her skin, and I can just get really close with my drill bit without hurting her. And as you can see, it was really easy, really fast, no biggie. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta be creative. So now I'm just going to take off the cuticle tissue that's still left on the nail plate. I'm just going to carefully remove it with this manicure scraper. Yeah, I'm just going to carefully get rid of that, making sure that I get in all the nooks and crevices. Really don't want to get any lifting, so I have to be really thorough removing this. I try to use this on each client, but sometimes the client needs a little bit more, and then I would use my e-file and remove it that way. It just ever so lightly scratches the nail plate, and that is more than enough to get great adhesion. So I never file on top of the nail plate. There's just no need for that, but you do really have to have a good prep, really get rid of all that cuticle tissue, really scrub the nail with a good nail scrub, and then you're good to go. So yeah, you're scrubbing the nail, really getting rid of all the oils and dirt and whatever there might be, and turning my wipe because I don't want to use the same side twice, because you are picking up oils and stuff, and if you're picking up too much oil, then you're just putting more oil onto the next nail. And in the long run, that will cause lifting, of course. So here I'm going in with my Rubberbase clear, just getting it all over the nail. Yeah, there's not that much to do today, but it's going to be a lovely design. Yeah, so it's almost empty. Trying to squeeze that out. This is my acrylic gel, dark pink. So I just need a little bit to do an infill like that. And just getting it over the width of the nail. Trying to get it pretty even in thickness. And once that's done, I'm just gonna pull it forward like I'm doing now. That's basically it. And I really don't need it to be a lot smoother because I'm going to do a little bit of filing anyway, and completely smoothing it out will take a lot more time than just going over it with my e-file like that. It's 1, 2, 3, and it's gone. Yeah. So I'm just rebalancing the nail, making sure I've got the apex in, and once that's all done, I'm pulling forward with the e-file, smoothing it all out, and I'm looking down the barrel of the nail to see where I've left, some higher parts, lower parts. I'm just getting rid of that, flattening the apex just a little bit because it was a little bit too high. And that was it, no more work than that. And once I've done that to all the nails, I'm just going to go in with my hand file and smooth everything out. So back in with my rubber base clear again because I really need a sticky layer. Um, and I think most of you know that this sticky layer is uncured product. Whenever oxygen can get to the product, it will leave a sticky layer because it will not cure. Um, so when oxygen gets to the product, it won't cure. That's what I wanted to say, and it will leave, a little bit of a residue on cured product. Um, and it's great to adhere stuff in, like pigments or whatever, but you really don't want to touch it or smear it onto the skin of your client. So I'm just grabbing this neon powder and I'm just going to create like a little bit of a fading, like an ombre. Oh my God, look at that color. It's so gorgeous. Sure, I could use polish to do this, but look at how fast is this. And look how great coverage I'm getting. So, you know, and it stays flat. If I were to use polish, you would get like a thicker part on a nail and it would show. And, I really don't like that. I like it when my nails are smooth and, I really don't like bulky nails. Really don't. So, yeah, I try to use as little of a, yeah, no. I'll just try to use no more than I really need. I don't like to use 2 layers, 3 layers, because it will take away from the nail shape. And, I've done a lot of work getting it all into shape and looking nice and smooth and, like crisp. And then, adding a lot of layers. Polish, yeah, it doesn't always look that good. So, yeah, so I went in with my chrome finish and cured that, and I'm gonna go in with this lovely pink chrome, transparent as you can see, but it has a pink finish to it. And I just thought that that would look great because she's been having the glass nails for a while now and without, you know, anything on top, just glass. And I was like, yeah, well, just want to do something different today. And now I'm going to go in with my acid-free primer and just going to go along the edges to make sure that it's not going to peel because that would be such a shame. And, it's air dry, so I'm just going to let that dry in the air. I'm just going to grab my rubber base clear here and I'm going to get some glitters inside. Some chunky and some fine, lots of different sizes. I'll scoop it in. I'm just gonna make sure that it's fully covered in rubber base like that. And once I'm happy, I'm gonna put it onto the nail because leaving the nails like this would be, yeah, yeah, my client wouldn't be happy. And neither would I. So lots of glitters. But yeah, almost there. Just gonna scoop some up. and get it onto the nail. I'm just going to pull it a little bit sideways. I don't want to cover the entire nail, and I don't want to do a straight line because, yeah, in my opinion, it doesn't look that good. I'd rather do like this diagonal shape. I think that looks really great. Yeah, so it's a pretty simple design, but it in real life, I don't think the camera does it justice. It just looks so pretty in real life. But maybe we'll see better once the top coat is on and I've got my light shining directly on it. Yeah, well, that last thing to do is put on my top gel, no cleanse. So first I'm going to start on the bottom, and I'm not going to cure that straight away because I want to seal the nail in completely, and this way in my head it will make a connection along the side walls and the lower arches, and gives that really sealed in feel, in my opinion. Um, and I really don't want to have any lumps and bumps. Sometimes when you do top coat underneath the nail and you don't wipe it before curing, you'll get like a drop or something on the side or whatever, and I really don't want that. And this way is also another good way to prevent that from happening. But yeah, here are her nails. Don't they look pretty? Yeah, and I can still see it doesn't do them justice. They look really pretty in real life. So, so, so shiny and so pink. Yeah. So I really hope you've liked this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I wish you all a very good day. Goodbye.